Hello, Ephesians 5:25 fam. Happy Sunday to you. I really hope you're having a blessed one. Got some great comments on my hair. It is absolutely the tallest it's ever been. Have not had a haircut on top since last late December. So it's standing almost 5 inches on top. So I think it's pretty cool. As a lifeguard, I get a lot of compliments on it. Like, that is so you. I love it. The kids love it. So, hey, speaking of children, I want to hop on here and say something about children in your house. Okay. When I was married to my ex-wife, rather, I had stepchildren. I had two in the house. One lived away from home. He decided to do what he wanted. Partially because he wasn't willing to live by the rules in our house. Now, could he have stayed? Absolutely. He chose to go off because part of his ego trip was he knew it all. He knew exactly what he wanted in life. He was going to go get it. And he learned the hard way, even though our house and our arms were always open for him. Now, we continue to pray for him, but we let the Lord handle him, like deal with him, because he wasn't really there with his walk with the Lord like he was taught, or he could have been, I suppose. But we extended our love. We didn't mind him and his girlfriend, now wife, coming over, but he had to, like children who'd go off and leave the nest. Mom and I have rules, so we've got to make sure that we're respecting us and our house and our land and the rules of our house and land. So I had a beautiful stepdaughter and a very handsome stepson. Now, my stepson was kind of accounted for. He has a daddy, lives down in South Mississippi, and that's his biological father. My stepdaughter, her biological father was in a horrible car accident. She wasn't exactly accounted for. And I remember one particular time, she came to her mum, kind of teary-eyed, and expressed her sadness for the fact that she's the only one in the family who doesn't have the same last name as, say, Mum and I. Okay. Well, this got to my attention pretty quickly, as it would, because we never kept secrets. We shared everything between my ex-wife and I. We kept, that open. And she came to me one day and she said, her name, came to me very, very sad, James, very teary-eyed, wanting to, that her brother was accounted for. His last name matches his daddy's. Our last name matches mine, of course. And then she was left with her last name from her daddy, which wasn't anything close to ours. And one night, my ex-wife and I were on a date night. We were actually on the way to a date. I was driving. And I leaned over to her and I said, and I said this in our reconciliation last year, and this is incredibly important. If you've got stepchildren in the house, pray about it and consider what I'm about to tell all of you. When my ex-wife reconciled with me last June to remarry this year, we all heard the testimony, what happened. It went completely south. She decided to cheat with the guy 10 years younger than we are. Okay? We're not repeating that cycle. I'm going somewhere with it. Bear with me. But I remember telling my ex-wife at the time, I remember saying, that's still on the table, baby. I don't want us to forget about our daughter. And I said our, because it's just as much as my responsibility to keep her fed and buying her clothes and doing things fun that she wants to do, whether that's go out with her friends for the day. I need to front the money for that so she can be taken care of. And my ex-wife at the time said, what do you mean, what's on the table? I don't understand. I said, that, she can have the same last name as us. I forgot all about it. So what I told my ex-wife at the time, even during our marriage and even in our reconciliation last June, July, and up until August, is my stepdaughter was struggling to be a part of the family. And I said, when we remarry this year, why don't we work on, in the meantime, me adopting her? And then when we remarry, we'll invite the children out on one of our date nights, which is unheard of. We don't have the children on our date nights. As you're married, you'll understand completely. Why don't we invite both children to our date night? not say anything, and then at the end of the date night, we'll slide the envelope in front of my stepdaughter, who will then become my daughter, because the papers, once she reads it, will say, James has now adopted you, and you now share our last name. And that date night would come after we've remarried, of course. So my ex-wife and I become married as one again, remarried, and then my stepdaughter would have the same last name as us, because now I've adopted her. And of course, that never happened. And I think that what really broke my heart, not just because that beautiful woman chose to cheat, and then had the audacity to brag about it all over social media, ladies, if the grass is greener, take it. No, it's not greener, and it's not pleasing to God. It's adultery. But it broke my heart that I never got the chance to fulfill that prayer that God would have answered, or was answering, to adopt that young lady. And so your heart's shattered twice, not just because of the betrayal, but because you're never going to fulfill that dream to make that little girl's eyes light up, say, I'm now a part of something. I have the same last name as Mama and James. And it's sad because they both were lied to by their mum. And this isn't a post to say, well, this is James against his ex-wife. No. I still pray for her. I still pray for the children to be woken up, that the wool comes off of all three of their eyes to say, okay, there's a demonic attack. Now, I don't know if it's Isham or Jezebel or what it is, but it's over Mama, which is causing her to lie to the children and say false things that are not true. I'm hoping that one of our children would hop on YouTube, like they do often, and all of a sudden they come across one of these videos and says, "That's James. What's he doing on YouTube? Let me click it." And then they hear God speaking through me to say, well, that's not the same James as 2 years ago. No, it's not. It's a brand new, renewed, made in the image of God James. He's not the same as he was last year in October. He's not the same as he was 2 or 3 years ago. Different. Totally set apart. So I encourage you, men, speaking to the men, you've got a stepdaughter in the house. Pray about it. Ask the Lord to move on your finances and in your house to adopt that little girl, because or a boy, they may not feel like a part of the family until they share the last name as you. I love you. The Lord loves you. This is James with Ephesians 5:25 Ministries. Have a blessed and safe Sunday, everybody.